folks. Well, it's me again. Must be the third or fourth video we've made, so by now you would know I'm sitting in my apartment. It's a very small apartment. Like most New York, what we call galley kitchens, my kitchen's only about 7 foot long by about 3.5 foot wide. I can cook at the stove okay in my wheelchair, but the prep bench is literally about 1.5 foot square and it's blocked by some drawers and such. We're doing a renovation next year if we can get some money. So what I do during the day is I'm home a lot on my own for 12 hours a day because by the time Evelyn catches subways, does 8-10 hours and catches back, I've got a day to fill. In restaurants we call it mise en place. It means everything in its place. It's the preparation you do before you cook. So about mid-morning I'll give her a call. What do you want for dinner tonight? Do you want tofu? Do you want TVP? Do you want Italian? What do you want? Well, tonight we're having pesto. Now pesto is normally good quality organic garlic, good quality organic basil, and it only has some Parmigiano Reggiano, good quality oil, pepper and salt, and it's a good, and you just either use a blender or a pestle and mortise. Now you say, wow, that's a really cool 70s kind of pestle and mortise. Well, actually, it's a 70s candlestick that weighs about 2 pounds. And if you had a relative who had parties in the 70s, that's a guacamole bowl, a chip bowl, whatever for parties. They were $1.50 each at a second-hand shop when they didn't have a lot of money. Hear the sound? That thing could kill you, and it makes great guacamole and it makes great pesto. So, time is of the essence. We only have under 10 minutes. So, a great quality, gluten-free, organic pasta from a shop that we use in Manhattan that we get our quality organic vegan foods from. It's also whole grain. So, I've cheated a bit. The pasta's already done. So, here we go. I've got this great, as you can see, I mean, it doesn't get fresher than this. This is amazing. So we start. It gets a little bit rustic. I would normally take a little bit longer than 10 minutes to do this. So we get as much of the quality leaves off of this basil as we can. If you had smell-o-vision right now, mamma mia. Oh God, this is good. Even the stems feel good. I mean, smell good. They feel good too. My hands afterwards smell like I've just been to one of those shops where they always spray the latest perfume on you. Just crush it up. It's great. Right? Now, we put that to one side. I got my my famous Wusthof knives. A lot of famous chefs have their own knife brand, but in reality, if you ask them, the best brand on the market, the most trustworthy, now I don't worry about getting it too small because the construction of garlic is kind of like the construction of grapes. There's cells of essence in there. And I want to make it small and manageable, but at the same time I want the pestle and mortise to do its work. And I want the juices that explode from the garlic to explode all over my bay leaf, my thyme leaves. Sorry, I'll try the, I'm sounding like Simon and Garfunkel, parsley, sage, rosemary and thyme. This is my basil for my pesto. So I just give it a rough chop, and 2 good cloves will be in there. Now you say this is an unusual place for me to be cooking, sitting at her computer desk and her coffee table. You want to know what the most unusual place, and Ella will remember this, it was hilarious. When we first met, we were mad, passionately in love, and she was on a holiday to Australia. This is organic pepper and another great bamboo, reusable woods. Please be kind to Mother Earth. Some salt, a little bit. Always salt every step of your dish. Uno, due, tre. The most unusual place ever cooked. When she met me, she'd already paid and prepaid for one of those non-refundable trips that tourists take, where they see everything, but they don't really see Australia because they get taken to all the BS places that aren't tourist spots. So we were in the middle of the biggest desert in Australia, about 1,000 kilometres from civilization, except for if you count tourist buses as civilization. And she gets hungry for pasta. Now I had a little 18-inch long Champion barbecue stove with a gas bottle about as big as that. She gets hungry in the middle of the desert. It's next to the Arabian deserts. It's the largest, hottest desert on earth. So she says, I want pasta. So we pull up in the RV, we find a rock, we put my little baby camp stove on the rock. I start doing what I'm doing here, sitting on the desert floor, and I've got marinara sauce bubbling away, I've got some penne bubbling away, and all of a sudden I feel like I'm paparazzi material. I turn around and a tourist bus has pulled up, 200 Japanese, or look like probably only 50, you know, why run a good story with the facts, about 50 tourists are snapping away like I'm the Kardashians with no clothes on, because they have found a crazy Aussie transsexual cooking Italian food in 100-degree heat in the middle of the desert. And if Italian food wasn't enough, I had my ever faithful macchiato, because you've got to have an espresso with good pasta afterwards, don't you? 100 degrees, 1,000 kilometres from nowhere. The only audience was the lizards, but it was a bloody good pasta. Now that's a strange place to prepare dinner. This is just necessity being the mother of invention. If your legs don't work and there's wheels under your ass and you can't fit in the kitchen, you find the next best place. Now, Mother Nature, I would never do this in a commercial setting. I would have gloves on. But if my beloved hasn't caught something from me now, she's not going to from a dish of pesto. So, I've got to get the pasta. See that? Beautiful, fresh. It was only about a minute out of the stove when she started filming. If you could smell this, you know, this doesn't look like the jarred pesto, thank goodness. If it did, I think I'd kill myself. That you buy in supermarkets, and it doesn't look like the pesto that your housewives do in a blender. But you go to Puglia, Emilia Romagna, you go to any of the great Italian provinces, Napoli, Firenze, Roma. You go anywhere where they make a great pasta. And folks, as that wonderful goddess of cooking says, tutta tavola e mangiare. Grazie. Thank you for coming. And this is Mamma Mia's 8-minute vegan pesto. Come in and get a close shot of that as you finish off filming, Ella. It doesn't get better than that. And you've had it before. What does it taste like?
Fantastic.
Buon gusto, eh? You want to eat? Grab a bowl. Come on over. Catch the 7 train. Walk 3 blocks up and we'll meet you. But you bring the wine. In Australia we call it a kick on the door invitation. Your arms have got to be filled with the wine and the beer. So much so you can't knock, you've got to kick on the door. So come to my place sometime, have a bloody good bowl of pasta.